Hello and welcome to 100 Yards of Football, Sports Talk Radio. I'm your producer, Jeremiah Long, and joining me to my left and my right are the best sportscasters in the business. We've got first, the man himself, Logan Landers, and we've also got Mr. Football, the football encyclopedia, Vincent Turner. How's it going, guys?
How you doing this morning?
How's it going, Jeremiah?
Hey, excellent. So today we've got one of my favorite games every year, and I know that I don't speak for myself. I also speak for Gucci Mane when I say it's Georgia versus Tennessee. I know that him and myself are both big Tennessee and Georgia fans. So today, this is a huge rivalry game for me. Growing up in Knoxville, going to high school there, I was there during Sea of Orange around '98, watching them, the Tennessee Vols rise to prominence. But all the while, the Georgia Bulldogs have kept a consistent program that have had some ups and downs, but have always continued to be known as a strong force in the SEC. You can never count Georgia out. They're always going to come around the corner and try to give you a run for your money. They're the type of team that's always going to bring it. So presenting Georgia versus Tennessee today are my dudes, Vincent Turner and Logan Landers. And Logan, I'm going to turn it over to you first to tell us what you're going to talk about, and then I'll let you kick it over to Vincent to talk about the Vols.
All right, let's do it. So I am going to be talking about the UGA Bulldogs, and I'm going to be talking about what their keys to victory are against the Volunteers and how they're going to be able to come with a win or how it's going to be a close game. But let's enough about what the Bulldogs right now. Let's kick it over to Mr. Football, and he can talk about the Volunteers for all y'all.
Yes, sir.
Okay, first and foremost, kudos to Jeremy Pruitt. As I said before, this is a young man last year, the head coach of Tennessee. They went 0-2, and everybody up there in Knoxville land wanted to run them away. But since that time, Tennessee has been on a tremendous roll throughout the nation. They've won 8 straight games. Jeremy Pruitt seemed like he's got the culture turned around, so, hey, big orange. The keys for Tennessee winning on Saturday against Georgia is very simple. It's about the line of scrimmage. And when you look at Tennessee, they got one of the best offensive lines in the country. A lot of people say the offensive line is the best in the conference. Cade Mays, ironically, who played at Georgia last year, transferred to Tennessee through some very controversial topics and situations that happened in Athens. But right now, he's the starting right tackle for the University of Tennessee, and you saw what his impact was last Saturday. Tennessee defeated Missouri 35-12, and very simple. They got the running game going. They had 232 yards on the ground. They averaged 4.5. Mr. Erie Gray and Ty Chandler will run the ball like it was no tomorrow. Jared Conantino, who I think is the key to this game, the major key. So far this year, he has no turnovers. Last week against the University of Missouri, he was 14 of 23, 190. But the most important thing, he played like a guy that's been on the center. He's a fifth-year senior. And another important statistic, in that football game last week, just to show you how much Tennessee believes in him from an offensive standpoint and why their offensive line is one of the best in the country, they converted 4 for 4 on fourth downs against Missouri last week. But when you look at it, it's a line of scrimmage that's going to happen in Athens on Saturday. So my thinking is if Tennessee is able to run the ball as they did against Missouri last week, they're going to have a very great chance to win the game. On the defensive side of the ball, it's still no difference there. Tennessee's defensive line, led by Aubrey Solomon, one of the best linebackers in the country, Henry Tutu. I hope I got his name right. The guy's playing like no linebackers playing right now after the first 2 games of the season for the University of Tennessee. If they able to somehow, some way get physical with Georgia and Georgia's magnificent offensive line, then they're going to have a great chance of slowing down Georgia's outstanding running game. Remember this, the time that Tennessee has always been successful. I'm going to take you back to a history tidbit here. Think about the last time Tennessee won the national championship. They averaged 4.5 yards a carry. Think who had in the backfield. They had Travis Henry, who averaged almost 5 yards a carry. But the major point, think who played on the offensive line. Chad Clifton, who had a great career with the Green Bay Packers. Mercedes Hamilton, who played real well. Kosi Coleman, who had a great career with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And Spencer Rattler. Seems like deja vu. Trey Smith, who starts from the right left tackles, one of the top tackle prospects in the 2021 draft. Juanine Morris, who's going to play in the next level. We don't have to say about Cade Mays. He's probably the best offensive lineman in the country. That being said, if Tennessee is able to control the line of scrimmage against a very talented football team on Saturday, they have a great chance of winning that football game. It's all about running the football, running the football, running the football. That's Tennessee style.
Hey, yeah, there's no doubt with that. Tennessee, I would say these two guys are pretty much even because the Georgia, play style for the past couple of years has been run the ball down your throat. And look, we saw that first week against Arkansas that I don't know what team that was that came out, but it was not the UGA Bulldogs. But this past week against Auburn, the number 7 ranked team in the country at the time, that was a top 5 team that showed up. They're 3 in the country right now. They moved up. But, man, I was watching that game, and they looked like, men among boys the way that game was played. But I really enjoyed the way that the UGA Bulldogs did, especially the running game. Their running game was top-notch. Let's talk about Zamir White. I know we talked about last week, but we said for the Bulldogs to be successful, he had to run for at least 100 yards. He was almost there. He got 88, but he got 2 touchdowns as well, so that's always great helping your team out. So he had a very solid game. Also, his other running back, James Cook, had 41 yards with 5 carries. So that running game is crucial for the Bulldogs to be successful. They're in for 202 as a team. And, hey, props to Stetson Bennett. The young man, he didn't know if he was even going to play a snap this year. After, some circumstances, Jamie Newman didn't play this year. And we don't know if JT Daniels, when he's going to be healthy and whatnot. But props to Stetson Bennett, had a very solid game once again. 17 of 28, 240 yards, and, hey, no interception. So you can't really ask for much more out of this guy who, a lot of UGA fans didn't really probably know going into this season, let alone think that he's going to be their starting quarterback for
Yeah, so who do you think will be the starting quarterback, Vincent?
For the University of Georgia, well, right now, as Logan said, Stetson Bennett is playing lights out. The one key I had with Stetson Bennett was he could be the man under center by them going through this real three tough game schedule, which is Auburn, Tennessee, and Alabama. Yeah. But he proved me wrong on Saturday night. He played flawless football. I think the biggest key, we got to give kudos to Todd Monken, the offensive coordinator. I thought he called a great game. And most of all, I think what really happened most of all in that football game, not only Todd Monken calling a great offensive game, but Stetson Bennett was able to find another receiver outside George Pickens in the passing game. We need to give kudos to Kakarius Jackson today. The guy had 9 receptions, 147 yards last week, 3 first down catches. To me, that was the biggest part. Because when we look at Georgia's going to stay, to me, Kirby Smart is not going to change his coach. He's going to always run the football. And Georgia dominate the line of scrimmage with Auburn. But I think what really helped Stetson Bennett out in the balance for Georgia's offense is that, George Pickens is a player outside, but somebody else had to step up at that position. And Kakarius Jackson, man, did he have a great first half. I think he had over 100 yards in the first half, 3 first down catches. And to me, that kind of made the game much easier for Stetson Bennett. Then another thing, Georgia implemented the tight end in the game. So when you look at it, Stetson Bennett, the bottom line, he played well enough on Saturday. I played Patrick Nix, next man up, Jared Gantino on Saturday. Yeah. And it's all about data, as the great Bobby Butler said. Stetson Bennett had a fantastic game on Saturday night.
Yeah. Let you continue there, Mr. Logan.
Yeah. So like you were saying, Vincent, Kakarius Jackson really kind of stepped up and definitely helped out Bennett this past week, because once you get a couple, catches under your shoulders and all, it really helps. It gives your quarterback some confidence, and that's what he needed. Like I said, he came in this year not knowing if he was even going to play, but after after his receivers had a great game for him, like you said, Jackson almost got 150 yards on the game. That really, I'm sure, helped his confidence out. And hey, like I said, you can't knock the guy. He didn't throw any interceptions or no fumbles either, so he had a very solid game in my books. But to me, I think this game is going to be an old school smash mouth kind of game, just off the running game alone. Looking at both the teams here, they're very even in terms of rushing yards on the year. Right now, the Bulldogs have 323 rushing yards. on the year so far, while Tennessee has 365 right above them. So the 2 and 3 ranked teams in the SEC in terms of rushing yards are going to be going at it. And like you said, it all depends on if that offensive line for each team can hold up against the defensive line for the other, because that's going to be crucial, because both these guys are very run heavy, like you said, with Eric Gray on the Tennessee side of the ball. And then with Georgia, of course, you got Zamir White. So that's going to be crucial. Which team is going to be stronger? Who's going to have the most stamina? Because they're going to be going at it and banging around all 4 quarters. So it's going to be a heck of a game. I'm ready to see some fireworks through the run game. I'm expecting a big play. I'm expecting a big run to break out, just solely based off the fact that I know these guys are going to get tired, getting wore down all game, just pounding the ball through the middle and, doing sweeps and whatnot. Yeah. But, it's going to be very close. But, another question here, Vincent, is who do you think is going to win? What do you think the score is going to be? Who do you got?
Well, like I said, the thing about it is I think the line opened up 14 points. Georgia is the favorite. It's no question about it. Georgia's had the last top 3 recruiting classes in the country. They have a lot more depth on the defensive side of the ball. I was really impressed with Georgia's defense. I think they got at least 4 or 5 guys that's going to go in the first round of the NFL draft. Nakobe Dean, Monty Rice, Jordan Davis, I thought played a fantastic game. I was really impressed with their secondary player, Tyson Campbell. That being said, Georgia's a 14-point favorite. They got everything going for them. They rise to the occasion. Kudos to Matt Luke. I thought he did an outstanding job in week 2 with the offensive line. Kudos to Justin Schaefer. Kudos to Trey Hill. They play like the old school Georgia line. But however, for Tennessee to win the football game on Saturday, it comes down to this. I don't think Tennessee is going to be intimidated. I think the talent level that Tennessee with Jeremy Pruitt has recruited over the last 2 years is maybe not there with Georgia, but I think they have the players to play with Georgia on Saturday. To me, it's always about the quarterback position. Right now, if Tennessee is going to have a chance, it's about Jerry Contino, the running game. Can Tennessee run the ball a little bit efficiently to keep the game even? But the biggest key, Tennessee has got to make plays in the passing game. Josh Palmer's got to be huge for him on Saturday, because if you look at last week, what Georgia did from a defensive standpoint, and I thought this was the key in the Auburn game, they played very good defense on the perimeter against Seth Williams. Tyson Campbell, to me, was the most valuable player in that game because he took away Seth Williams, who everybody was raving about. I'm talking about Seth Williams from the University of Auburn, talking about how great he was. Well, Tyson Campbell having him man-to-man all over the field last Saturday night. Seth Williams had 3 catches for 34 yards. That being said, Josh Palmer, to me, has to be huge for Tennessee in the passing game. And if that happens, Tennessee has a good chance of staying close in the Georgia game. And, of course, as you said, Logan, it's a line of scrimmage game. So I'm going to say this. Me being from the great state of Tennessee, 901 Memphis, Tennessee, if Tennessee is going to have a chance, Tennessee is going to spring the upset 21-17.
Hey, I like it, taking the underdog a little bit. That's always, fun to see. But, yeah, like I said, these 2 teams are even, basically. I know the AP polls might not show it, but both of these teams are very even in terms of both sides of the ball. I got to give Georgia a little bit of advantage on the defensive side of the ball, like you said, with Monty Rice and everyone else, Quay Walker, Nakobe Dean, all those guys. Like I said, Georgia's got one of the most stacked defenses in the country. And if they were able to hold, a powerhouse offense like Auburn to not even a touchdown, they only got, 6 points just off of field goals. So if they were able to hold them to under a touchdown with, like I said, with Bo Nix and Seth Williams, who a lot of people think is one of the top wide receivers in the country at this point, that's very impressive. And so the key for me is, while yes, both of these guys are going to run the ball and run the ball and run the ball, but can the Georgia defense hold up against that run attack? And also, let's not sleep on Garantano as well. Like you said, he's a 5th-year starter. He's got a lot of experience under his belt. He's played Georgia many times before. Can he pick apart the defense in ways that we might not have seen before from other teams? We'll have to see. But overall, I got the Bulldogs winning this one by 7. I'm going to go 21-14. I'll go that, have a kind of a low-scoring game just based off the fact that they're going to be running the ball a good bit. And both those defenses are very even. But, yeah, I got the Bulldogs by 7 in this one. Jeremiah, I know you're you know this game pretty well. Who you got this one?
Well, I am not the expert that you guys are. I am more of a diehard Vols fan that lives in Atlanta and is a big bull surrounded by a lot of Bulldogs. Understand their passion very well. Have seen them play their hearts out. Any other year, I would say that Georgia is a team to beat, and that is like it's going to be a really huge mountain for the Vols to try to climb. This year, I see things a little differently. Every coach that I talk to from the backside, every time I've seen them play, and even though they've made some of their classic, let's say, noteworthy moments towards the end where they find a way to make things interesting, let's say, I still am going to put this one out there. Vols 28, Georgia 24. I'm going to say we're going to get the edge. I want to see where it happens. I'm hoping that we come out really strong and that we maintain and that our defense is able to hold back Georgia right to the very edge. And I know this is going to be a nail biter for people in Georgia and for Tennessee, especially if Tennessee is able to bring the power as they should this year. I know they want to keep the streak alive. And I'm hoping that the Tennessee Vols, with their great coaching staff, and they're really, this is not a rebuilding year for them. This is a year where they have a solid team. So I want to see them go really strong. I want to see them keep the streak alive. And let's just see what happens, guys.
Yeah. Hey, you know on the epic one.
So what's your final word, Vincent?
Hey, man, to me, I keep it very simple, man. I think it's going to be the player at the quarterback position. Garantino is a fifth-year senior. Obviously the biggest game in his career. Then you're looking at Stetson Bennett. He answered the call last week against Auburn. And I said if Georgia was going to be successful with him under the center, how was he going to play in this 3-game stretch?
Yeah.
Auburn, Tennessee, and then Alabama next week. But me being from the state of Tennessee, I just think it's something special about this Tennessee team. I think they're more talented on the line of scrimmage from an offensive standpoint. Cade Mays, Juanine Morris, and Mr. Trey Smith, who's also from my hometown, Memphis, Tennessee. I think all three of those guys are going to be in the NFL one day. And this game is very simple. In the SEC, if you look at it, teams that are successful, even on the national level, you take Clemson, you take Ohio State, you take Alabama, you take Georgia. Go look at all the previous NFL drafts. You see Lyman is taken number 1 all the time. Alex Leatherwood at Alabama, first-round pick. Trey Smith right now at Tennessee, first-round pick. Cade Mays, first-round pick. Trey Hill going to be a high-draft pick. The team that's very successful on the line of scrimmage is going to win the football games in the SEC and the national level. And you got two teams that are very talented. So that being said, it comes down to the quarterback position. Jerry Garantino, it's your time to be a star, baby. It's your time.
What's your final word there, Mr. Logan Landers?
Look, I know you said it's about the quarterback play, Vincent. I gotta go with the running game once again. Which running back will be able to crack that 100-yard? Hey, no, that's our name and all, man. But who's going to crack that 100-yard rushing milestone, man? It's going to be a heck of a game between Eric Gray and then Zamir White.
I agree.
We've seen the talent that Georgia produces at the running back position. We've seen that, Todd Gurley and Nick Chubb, just to name a few over the past recent years, they're stars in the NFL. Yeah. And Zamir White, we've seen for time and time again, all the experts say, all the scouts say that this guy is special. So that's why I got Georgia winning this one, is just based off the play of Zamir White and how he's going to be able to run the ball. But like you said, that Tennessee team is no slouch by any means necessary. This is going to be a great game, and I'm looking forward to watching it on Saturday.
Well, for everybody watching, make sure you drop a comment, just like our friends here have been dropping them. And okay, let me pull up Timothy Nelson. He says that I'm crazy. Georgia's going to blow him out. Hey, I'm not saying that you're wrong. I'm just saying that I see things from the coaching perspective, and I'd love to see what happens. Eric Gray, Wanda Jenkins Cross said, make sure you drop your comments in there. That's what we love. We want to interact with you. We want to know what you think about what's going on. And we definitely want to know if you think that we're right. And if you think that we're right, tell us. And if you think that we're not right, tell us, because we want to make sure that we have the most accurate podcast and live broadcast of any show. Another thing that we do here at 100 Yards of Football Sports Talk Radio is we keep it on the field. We talk about stats, we talk about history, and we want you to join us. So please drop in the comments exactly what you think's going on. Remember to watch our live show every week. And when you get a chance, jump over onto your favorite Spotify or Stitcher or Apple podcast area and watch our brand new Near Daily podcast where you can listen to us talk about our sports history. We have player previews, and we're going to keep up with these games of the week all through the season. So please let us know what you think. And we are 100 Yards of Football, Sports Talk Radio. So excited to be here with you every single day. And so thank you very much for joining us. I am Jeremiah Long. I am your producer. Joining us today was Vincent, Mr. Football Turner. He's the football encyclopedia. And Logan Landers. He is our newest host. And I'm just super impressed by every time that you come on the air, brother, because this is one of those places where you have to become correct and you have to be able to hang. Because if you're going to go with any kind of sports commentary with Mr. Football over here, you've got to bring it. And you got to bring it real hard. So for everybody here at 100 Yards of Football, thank you for joining us so much, and thank you for being here with us. And we'll see you guys a little bit later. One thing I'm going to jump in here real quick and show you is we are live on our podcast now. So go to Spotify, check out our new podcast, go to Apple, check out our podcast, and we're going to be going really hard every single day. So thank you guys so much for joining us, and we'll see you guys just a little bit later in the week. Bye, guys.